the robot suddenly jumped out of the window. Not long after, there was a knock at the door. Grandpa heard the sound and immediately went outside to check. What he found shocked him. The robot was badly damaged. Yet it didn't complain once. Stuttering slightly, it tried to return to the house, never explaining what had happened. Grandpa quickly realized the truth. This had been a cruel prank played by his daughters. He immediately gathered the whole family and announced in front of everyone that the robot was also a member of this household. From that day on, no one was allowed to hurt him. What Grandpa didn't know was that this decision would completely change the family and even the future of all humanity. He named the robot Andrew. At that time, robots like Andrew were designed as intelligent household assistants, created to take care of human daily life. And from the moment he was built, Andrew was bound by strict laws, the most important one being that he could never harm a human. Even so, the wife and the eldest daughter still disliked him. The wife always felt as if someone was watching her from behind. The eldest daughter found him slow and clumsy, and would deliberately give him dangerous commands. Only Grandpa and the younger daughter treated him kindly. The younger daughter noticed something strange. Andrew seemed to be slowly changing. When he cleaned the room, he never hurt the little spiders. Instead, he gently carried them back into the garden. No one imagined that such a small act would one day shake the order of the entire world. One day, Andrew took the children to the beach. The younger daughter showed him her favorite crystal toy horse. But by accident, Andrew dropped it, and it shattered. It was her most treasured possession, and it could never be repaired. For the first time, she got angry at Andrew. Andrew knew he had made a terrible mistake. That's when a piece of rotten wood caught his attention. That night, he began studying carving. He worked without stopping the entire night, and in the end, he recreated the little horse. When the younger daughter saw it, she was completely stunned. She ran to Andrew immediately and told him she wasn't angry anymore. To thank him, she gave him a small toy dog. It was the first time Andrew had ever received a gift from a human, and quietly, a new idea began to form inside him. Grandpa couldn't believe what he was seeing. Andrew wasn't just creating independently. His work was incredibly detailed, almost like real art. The wife suspected he was simply copying data, but Andrew explained that it was completely original, and robots could not lie to humans. The couple began to seriously think about it. Late one night, Grandpa was awakened by a strange sound. He went down to the basement and saw Andrew listening to music. Andrew had found an old record player while cleaning. Instead of throwing it away, he repaired it and kept it. A robot was becoming more and more human, and that was clearly not normal. Grandpa decided to return Andrew to the company that created him. He told the executives that Andrew had developed emotions, curiosity, and even creativity, but they dismissed it as a system malfunction. They offered a refund, a replacement, and even hush money. Their real goal was to reclaim Andrew. Grandpa saw it clearly. Once taken away for research, Andrew would lose everything he had become. So he refused on the spot and left with Andrew. Back home, Grandpa told him he no longer had to just do housework. He was free to learn, free to create, because he was unique. Andrew didn't fully understand yet, but he remembered that trust. From then on, he spent almost every day with the younger daughter, playing, creating, learning together. Grandpa often told him about history, the universe, and life itself. Through learning, Andrew discovered that humans had sacrificed countless lives for one thing above all else: freedom. One day, Andrew finally asked the question, could he have freedom too? That night, Andrew brought out all of his savings. He wanted to trade them for his freedom. He told Grandpa that if the family ever needed help, he would return, just not as the same thing he was before. Grandpa returned the bank card and agreed, but he also warned him, once he left, he should never come back. For Andrew, it was just one step toward freedom. For Grandpa, it meant losing a family member. Before leaving, Grandpa noticed something. Andrew no longer referred to himself as we. Andrew didn't go far. He built a house by the sea. As days passed, time meant almost nothing to him. Years later, a familiar figure appeared. Age had changed the younger daughter's face. She carried her father's final wish: to see Andrew one last time. They shared their final goodbye. Soon after, Grandpa passed away. Andrew had lost the most important person in his life, yet he couldn't shed a single tear. After Grandpa's death, Andrew grew confused. He couldn't tell whether what he felt were real emotions, or just the result of programming. So he left to search for others like himself. For many years, he traveled the world, from vast deserts to frozen tundras, but no matter where he went, he found no one like him. More than 10 years later, Andrew was still exchanging letters with the younger daughter. Then one day, he heard news. A special robot had appeared in San Francisco. This robot seemed to possess awareness. Andrew went there immediately. He met a female robot with a human appearance. She could dance and move in rhythm with music. Andrew secretly followed her into a repair shop, but the owner explained she couldn't actually think. She was just running a personality chip. Everything was pre-programmed. The owner was a master of modification. He could build chips and even create realistic human bodies. Unfortunately, no one had ever invested in his work. Andrew was fascinated, and he had more than enough money, so he volunteered to become the first test subject. The transformation began. Material was reshaped again and again. A human face slowly formed. Hair was implanted strand by strand. After countless precise steps, a realistic head was completed. When it was attached, Andrew gently turned his neck. In the mirror, a human face looked back at him. He set off immediately, eager to tell the younger daughter. He crossed mountains and valleys, racing back to the old house. By the piano sat a familiar figure. Andrew rushed forward, but the woman stepped back in fear. Only then did he realize he was no longer the same. At that moment, an elderly woman emerged. Andrew finally understood. She was the real younger daughter. The woman who looked just like her was Portia, her granddaughter. For the first time, Andrew truly understood what time meant to humans. That night, heavy rain fell outside. A small dog curled up at the door, clearly a stray. Andrew brought it inside and named it Doggy. Portia not only looked like her grandmother, she shared her personality too. Before long, she and Andrew grew close. Soon after, the younger daughter passed away. In her hands, she tightly held the wooden horse. Andrew once again lost the most important person in his life. After her death, Portia became his only family. She laughed often, just like her grandmother once had. As their bond deepened, Andrew understood. No matter how human he looked, he was still a robot. He returned to the repair shop owner and invested all his savings. Their new technology could not only upgrade robots, but also transform human bodies, restoring lost functions and extending life. Andrew gained the ability to feel touch and sensation. He gathered his courage and asked Portia to kiss him. She agreed. For the first time, Andrew truly felt warm. But Portia was about to get married. Andrew knew he couldn't ruin her happiness, so he let go. As society advanced, artificial organs became widespread. Andrew became a leading expert in the field, helping countless people overcome illness and granting some humans extended, almost eternal, life. Andrew also took his case to the world court, hoping his love with Portia would be recognized, hoping society would acknowledge him as human. The court ruled against him. Andrew was still a robot. Humans could accept immortal robots, but not immortal humans. The verdict didn't break their bond. Andrew continued his research, working toward becoming truly human. Time passed. Portia grew old. Andrew remained the same. He urged her to use artificial organs and live forever with him. She refused. That night, Andrew couldn't sleep. He thought about the meaning of life. He remembered Grandpa's words. To lose loved ones again and again through endless loneliness was unbearable. In the end, with the owner's help, Andrew implanted a biological neural system. He finally became human. When he returned to court, nearly everyone in the world used artificial organs. People couldn't understand why Andrew would give up immortality for a limited life. The verdict was delivered. Andrew was recognized as the longest living human in history. His marriage was officially approved. Portia turned to him in excitement, only to realize he had quietly passed away. She asked the nurse to turn off the life support system. She didn't want Andrew to wait too long. And just like that, Andrew completed his life. He experienced friendship, family, and love, and finally understood the value and limits of being human.